High above the suffering figure of Jesus, on that fateful hill called Golgotha, there hung a simple sign, one that has, for centuries, captured the curiosity and devotion of millions. The inscription, often depicted as 4 bold letters, INRI, has become a powerful symbol in Christian art, theology, and reflection. But what does INRI mean? Why was it placed above Jesus during his crucifixion? And how have Christians, across different regions and traditions, understood its significance? To unravel the story of INRI, we must first turn to the Gospel accounts of the crucifixion. According to the New Testament, Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who presided over Jesus' trial, ordered that a written notice be affixed to the cross. The Gospel of John tells us, Pilate had a notice prepared and fastened to the cross. It read, "Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews." This inscription was written in 3 languages, Hebrew, Latin, and Greek, the principal languages of Jerusalem at the time. In Latin, the phrase would be rendered as Iesus Nazarenus Rex Judaeorum. From the first letters of each word comes the abbreviation INRI. At first glance, the sign might seem almost incidental, a cold, bureaucratic label marking the reason for Jesus' execution. In Roman practice, it was customary to display the crime for which a person was being executed, a deterrent to others who might challenge imperial authority. For Pilate, this was a political act, a way of mocking not only Jesus, but also the Jewish leaders who had brought him to trial. But as the early Christians reflected on every detail of the Passion, those 4 letters took on a meaning far deeper than Pilate could ever have intended. For many Christians, INRI is more than a historical notice. It is a profound statement of faith. The phrase, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews, speaks to the identity of Jesus as Messiah and King, not only for one people, but for all humanity. The sign, intended as a sneering accusation, is transformed into a declaration. Here is the true King, reigning not from a throne of gold, but from the wood of the cross. The significance of INRI has echoed through the centuries in Christian art and architecture. In countless paintings, sculptures, and stained glass windows throughout the world, the letters appear above Jesus' head, calling to mind the moment of crucifixion. They serve as a visual reminder of Christ's sacrifice and his kingship, a kingship defined not by worldly power, but by self-giving love. Different Christian traditions have developed their own ways of interpreting and venerating the inscription. In the Roman Catholic Church, INRI is almost universally used in crucifixes and liturgical art, emphasizing the fulfillment of Old Testament prophecies about the Messiah. The Catholic tradition often sees the inscription as a paradoxical proclamation. The King who was rejected by his own people is, in truth, the long-awaited Savior. In the Eastern Orthodox Church, the inscription sometimes appears in its Greek form, INVI, which stands for Iesaus ho Nazoraios, Basileos ton Iodaion, Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews. The Orthodox tradition often draws out the theological irony of the title, reflecting on how Christ's kingdom is not of this world, as he himself declared to Pilate. The cross, crowned by these letters, becomes the throne from which Christ conquers sin and death. Protestant traditions, too, have embraced the symbolism of INRI, though with different emphases. For some, the inscription is a reminder of the scandal and shame of the cross, a symbol that God's wisdom often appears as foolishness to the world. Others focus on the universality of the message, that Jesus, the King of the Jews, is also the Redeemer of all nations. The use of INRI in Protestant art is less uniform, but where it appears, it testifies to the centrality of the cross in Christian faith. Beyond denominational lines, INRI has become a part of Christian devotion in diverse cultures around the globe. In Latin America, processions and religious festivals often feature elaborate crucifixes bearing the inscription, a testament to the enduring power of the symbol. In the Philippines, devotees reenact the Passion of Christ each year, with the letters INRI prominently displayed, a sign of both suffering and hope. In Ethiopia and other parts of Africa, traditional crosses may include the inscription in local languages, blending the universal message of Christ's kingship with the particular stories and struggles of each community. In Eastern Europe, where Orthodox tradition prevails, the inscription may be rendered in Slavic languages, yet always pointing to the same mystery, that the one crucified is, in fact, the king. But the meaning of INRI is not confined to art or ritual. It continues to inspire meditation and theological reflection. For some believers, the sign is a summons to recognize Christ's kingship in their own lives, to follow his example of humility and sacrificial love. For others, it is a challenge, a reminder that true power is found not in domination or violence, but in forgiveness and self-emptying. The letters invite all who gaze upon the cross to ponder the mystery of a God who reigns from a place of utter vulnerability. Throughout history, the inscription has also sparked controversy and debate. Some have accused the sign of being a source of anti-Semitic sentiment, misused to blame the Jews for the death of Jesus. Responsible Christian teaching, however, has emphasized that the cross is not a weapon against any people, but a sign of God's love for all. The message of INRI is not one of condemnation, but of reconciliation. In modern times, the letters continue to appear in new contexts. Whether etched on a simple wooden cross in a village church, or rendered in gold above the altar of a great cathedral, INRI serves as an invitation to contemplate the paradox at the heart of Christianity, the crucified King whose love knows no bounds. It challenges us to see in the suffering of Jesus not only the pain of one man, but the hope of all humanity. Ultimately, the story of INRI is the story of Christianity itself, a story of how God transforms the symbols of rejection and shame into signs of grace and glory. As generations of believers have looked up at those 4 letters, they have found in them a message that transcends language, culture, and time. Jesus of Nazareth, the King, reigns not in spite of the cross, but through it. And in that reign, the promise of redemption is offered to all.